Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for your great support so far. I'm indeed very grateful. In this video, we'll be discussing the controversies between Pastor Chris Okafor and Doris Ogala, including their alleged romantic relationship, leaked X-rated video, Chris Okafor's marriage proposal to another woman and alleged marriage, Doris Ogala's mental breakdown and subsequent chain of events. We will also discuss what the law says and did not say about this situation and social media reactions and opinions. Kindly stay tuned as this video promises to be interesting. Nollywood actress Doris Ogala became a major topic of public discussion following the circulation of an emotional video in which she accused the founder of the Mountain of Liberation and Miracle Ministry, also referred to as Grace Nation, Pastor Chris Okafor, of allegedly ruining her life. In the viral footage, the actress claimed that she had been involved in an intimate relationship with the Lagos-based cleric for more than 8 years, a relationship she says left her emotionally shattered, financially depleted, and publicly disgraced. In her tearful account, Doris alleged that she suffered a miscarriage during the course of the relationship, lost her father and later her brother under circumstances she described as mysterious, and experienced a serious decline in her health. She further accused Pastor Okafor of persuading her to leave her marriage with promises of marriage, only for him to later announce his engagement to another woman. According to Doris, after years of emotional and intimate involvement, including exchanging private images and videos while she was still married, Pastor Okafor had no moral right to marry another woman without compensating her. She publicly demanded that he buy her a house as what she described as settlement for years of sacrifice and broken promises. However, beyond the viral accusations, Doris Ogala's story stretches back several years, long before the controversy became public or any recording devices were turned on. The narrative reportedly began in 2012 when Doris met her former husband, Kingsley Anyanwagu, in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. The relationship initially appeared serious and promising. Kingsley reportedly wasted no time in formally meeting her family, and introductions between both families were completed, a cultural step often viewed as a precursor to marriage. Despite this outward progress, Doris later described the relationship as deeply troubled. She alleged that Kingsley was obsessive, controlling, and emotionally intense, traits that later escalated into physical abuse. The relationship stalled, weighed down by fear, violence, and emotional exhaustion, and Doris eventually walked away. Kingsley later relocated to South Africa and communication between them ceased. By 2017, Doris believed she had emotionally moved on, though the scars from the past reportedly remained. That year, she recounted encountering Chris Okafor by chance at a law enforcement facility in Abuja, Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory. At the time, she said she did not know he was a pastor. What stood out to her was his confidence, composure, and charm. A conversation ensued, phone numbers were exchanged, and a colleague, Chioma Okoye, was said to have witnessed the meeting, a seemingly minor moment that would later become significant. Their communication intensified quickly. Chris invited Doris to attend a crossover service at his church. Upon arrival, she was received by another pastor identified as Sylvester, who escorted her to Chris Okafor's office. It was during this period that their relationship reportedly shifted from casual interaction to emotional involvement. Chris allegedly told Doris that he was divorced and had 2 children, a son and a daughter, a disclosure that, according to Doris, convinced her that he was emotionally available and serious about the future. Soon after, Chris invited her to his hometown in Anambra State, where he reportedly introduced her to his parents. In Nigerian cultural context, such an introduction is often interpreted as a sign of genuine marital intent. Doris stated that Chris also arranged security and transportation for her, further reinforcing her belief that the relationship was headed towards marriage. Later that same year, Doris suffered the loss of her father. In her account, she described this period as emotionally devastating, noting that Chris remained present and supportive, which further deepened her attachment to him. By 2018, family pressure intensified. Doris's relatives reportedly urged her to settle down, warning her about societal attitudes toward unmarried women as they grow older. Around this time, Kingsley Anyanwagu re-entered her life, having returned from South Africa. He allegedly began reconnecting with her family, offering gifts, purchasing a car for Doris, and extending generously to her relatives. Over time, family perceptions reportedly shifted, with Kingsley being portrayed as changed and ready for marriage. Doris, however, claimed she no longer loved him. She resisted the pressure, insisting that affection could not be forced. Despite her objections, she said she was repeatedly told that love would develop after marriage. Caught between emotional conflict and intense societal pressure, she began reconsidering. During this period, Doris said she spoke openly with Chris Okafor about the pressure she was facing and the presence of other suitors. She claimed Chris asked her not to marry anyone else and encouraged her to wait for him. However, he was not ready for marriage at the time. Faced with uncertainty and fear of prolonged waiting, Doris made a difficult decision. In 2018, she married Kingsley Anyanwagu. According to Doris, the marriage quickly deteriorated. She alleged that Kingsley became increasingly controlling, insecure, and violent. Frequent arguments reportedly escalated into physical abuse. Separations became common, reconciliations temporary. In November 2021, she claimed she was severely assaulted and fled to Lagos, Nigeria for safety. While in Lagos, Doris said she visited Pastor Chris Okafor and confided in him about her troubled marriage. She stated that he offered emotional and spiritual counsel. Afterward, she returned to her husband, hoping for improvement. Instead, she alleged that Kingsley admitted to impregnating another woman, a revelation that further destabilized their marriage. From late 2021 to 2022, Doris described brief periods of calm, followed by renewed conflict. She claimed Kingsley resumed late-night outings, unexplained hotel stays, and that questioning him often resulted in beatings. Throughout this period, Doris maintained frequent communication with Chris Okafor, whom she said became her emotional anchor. She later admitted that emotional intimacy crossed boundaries, though she maintained that the relationship did not become physical while she was still married. By 2022, Doris alleged that Chris encouraged her to leave her marriage and assured her that he would marry her. Trusting that promise, she ended her marriage and committed herself fully to the relationship with him. The expected outcome never materialized. Instead, Doris claimed Chris withdrew from the marriage plan and privately proposed to another woman. She alleged that the shock triggered severe emotional trauma, a miscarriage, further health complications, and the loss of her brother under unclear circumstances. Doris also accused Chris of sharing her private images and videos with third parties and of manipulating her into sacrificing her marriage under false assurances. The controversy exploded publicly, with a video of Pastor Chris Okafor proposing to another woman surfaced online. Shortly afterwards, Doris released her emotional video accusing him of betrayal and emotional destruction. As public reactions intensified, she insisted she was not opposed to his marriage but demanded settlement, including the purchase of a house, which she described as compensation for years of investments and broken promises. Chris Okafor responded during a sermon, publicly rejecting the idea of marrying Doris. He described her in unflattering terms, questioning her character and emotional stability, comments that further fueled online debates. Old allegations from former marriage and past interviews resurfaced, reigniting scrutiny of his personal history. Despite Doris's objections, images later emerged showing Pastor Chris Okafor marrying Pearl. Both traditional and white wedding ceremonies reportedly took place in Lekki, Lagos, in Nigeria's southwest region, attended by family and friends. The events went ahead as planned. As wedding images circulated, public opinion became sharply divided. Some sympathized with Doris, others defended the pastor, while many followed the unfolding drama as spectators. What began as private relationships ultimately became a highly public spectacle, layered with pain, controversy, and unresolved questions. In the end, the story reflects a complex intersection of love, timing, faith, societal pressure, power dynamics, and personal choices, a reminder that unresolved histories often resurface when promises move faster than reality. Legal context: what the law says and what it does not. From a legal standpoint, the controversy surrounding Nollywood actress Doris Ogala and Pastor Chris Okafor occupies a complex and largely grey area under Nigerian law. While Doris has made serious allegations, including emotional manipulation, breach of promise to marry, sharing of private images, and demands for compensation, not all of these claims automatically translate into criminal liability. Under Nigerian law, a promise to marry is not legally binding unless supported by clear contractual elements such as written agreements or verifiable evidence showing intent, reliance, and demonstrable loss. Courts have historically been reluctant to award damages purely on emotional grounds, especially where no formal engagement or marriage rites were completed. As a result, Doris's demand for a house as settlement remains a civil claim, not an automatic entitlement, unless supported by substantial evidence admissible in court. However, certain aspects of her allegations, if proven, could carry legal weight. Claims involving the non-consensual sharing of private images or videos may fall under Nigeria's Cybercrimes Act, which criminalizes the distribution of intimate content without consent. That said, as of now, no confirmed court filings, police reports, or judgments have been publicly linked to these claims. Similarly, allegations of domestic abuse within Doris's marriage to Kingsley Anyanwagu remain untested in court. While Nigeria has legal frameworks addressing domestic violence, including the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act (VAPP), enforcement depends on formal complaints and legal proceedings, none of which have been publicly confirmed in this case. It is also important to note that religious leaders are not legally restricted from personal relationships unless those relationships violate criminal statutes. Moral expectations placed on pastors by society do not automatically equate to legal culpability. As such, Pastor Chris Okafor's conduct, while widely debated on ethical and spiritual grounds, remains legally unresolved in the absence of judicial intervention. In summary, the matter currently exists more in the court of public opinion than in a court of law. All major accusations remain allegations, pending any formal legal action or ruling. Public reactions: sympathy, skepticism, and division. Public reaction to the controversy was swift, intense, and deeply polarized. Social media platforms became the primary battleground, with opinions splitting sharply along emotional, moral, and religious lines. A segment of the public expressed deep sympathy for Doris Ogala, describing her as a woman caught between societal pressure, emotional vulnerability, and misplaced trust. Supporters argued that her story reflected the struggles many women face in relationships involving power imbalance, especially when religious authority is involved. Some feminists and social commentators framed her experience as a cautionary tale about emotional dependency and delayed marriage promises. Others, however, were far less sympathetic. Critics questioned Doris's decision, particularly her admission of maintaining emotional intimacy with Pastor Chris while married. Some accused her of poor judgment, arguing that personal accountability should not be overlooked. For this group, the controversy was less about victimhood and more about the consequences of repeated choices. Pastor Chris Okafor also received strong support from his followers and church members. Many defended him as a spiritual leader under attack, insisting that private relationships should not invalidate years of ministry. His sermon response, in which he rejected the possibility of marrying Doris and made remarks about character and stability, further energized his supporters, while simultaneously drawing criticism from others who felt his comments were dismissive and inflammatory. Religious commentators weighed in heavily. Some pastors used the situation as a teaching moment on boundaries, accountability, and the dangers of emotional entanglements between clergy and congregants. Others criticized the public airing of private matters, warning that social media trials often replace truth with spectacle. When images of Pastor Chris Okafor's wedding to Pearl surfaced, reactions intensified. To some, the wedding symbolized closure and the right to move on. To others, it felt like a painful confirmation of Doris's claims of betrayal. The contrasting reactions underscored how differently people interpret loyalty, morality, and justice. Mainstream media outlets largely maintained cautious language, reporting Doris's claims as allegations and emphasizing the absence of court rulings. Nonetheless, the story remained trending, fueled by clips, opinion videos, and online debates that blurred the line between fact and speculation. Thank you very much for watching this video till the end. I'm indeed very grateful. Please, kindly like the video, subscribe to my channel, and tell me how you feel about this video. Kindly click on the bell icon so that when I post a new video, you'll be the first to get notified. You can also watch any of my other videos by clicking on any of the links on the screen before they disappear. You may kindly share this video if you can. Until my next video, stay blessed.